Isn't life better? Like hindsight, when you really think about it,
it's just
when you're not trying to force
it's
something.
liberating.
Yeah. That's that lightness.
Yeah.
I'll let her properly introduce you, but here's how I'll introduce you, or at least why I want to talk to you. We met during an event for her dad, and here's what stuck out to me. You were, not to sound like a weirdo, but you were like the biggest ball of light in that room, right? Like talking to people and all that, and we talked about baseball and my kid. And
Chris, you got to watch it. You're going to blow him up.
No, well, I'm
going to have a problem for the rest of the day.
What will blow you down?
Yeah, great.
It was just real impactful, and
thank you.
And I know what you do and all this other stuff, and I don't want to deflect that. I want to highlight that with the level of success and what you have done over the course of your life, and just the amount of like kids and grandkids and all that other stuff. You're still like, you just have this light energy about you that is like fun and free and awesome. And I'll add on to it of how you came in the building today. Like just super chill, super relaxed. I have a feeling you've been through some stuff in your life, because not to make this about me, but I always do.
That's how we start every show.
I've been through some stuff. I've been through some valleys, and I know a vibration when I see one of like, there's bigger fish to fry. There's bigger things going on, and there's a cadence about you. So I just wanted to, thank you for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me.
Like publicly recognize it, because it's just rare, but it's even more rare like to see these days. So
yeah, Ken's a big ball of light.
Yeah, it was just.
Let me tell you all how I met Ken.
So were you, sort of.
Thanks, Ken. So when I was a baby lawyer, like a little baby lawyer, I think before I was barred. Like I was clerking.
Yes.
I worked for an attorney who rented space from Ken, and I was forced to share space with Ken every day for like almost a year. And every day I had to wonder what prank, what harassment I would walk into at the hands of one
But
Ken
I didn't
Ashworth.
have to think about it. I automatically just did it.
Yeah, no,
You were
I
so
had to
easy
think
to
about
prank.
it, Ken.
Because you just automatically walked into something.
Just
every
open
day.
doors. Like
Whether or not
almost every day.
You couldn't park.
I can park.
You couldn't work. You couldn't do it. There's the things you just sat there and you just did
Ken?
that. And you took care of that person all the time.
To be fair, I can work.
Oh, you did.
I was not allowed to work because I was babysitting. It's different.
How do you, can I just ask you a question? Like, how do you show up at like to life like this? Like, where does it come from? I know that sounds very weird, and you go back to a bunch of different stuff, but like, were you always, how about this? Here's a better question. Were you always naturally happy?
Probably not.
Like all, yeah.
You know, I grew up here in Las Vegas. You know, family's been here forever. And I remember when I went to Southern Utah University, which is where I went to get my degree.
Yeah.
And I was walking around there with a buddy of mine named Mark Laney, who's passed on since now. And people would go up to us and say, hello. Now, here in Vegas, we don't say hello a lot.
We do.
And not really. We're not the friendliest little city in the world.
It's not the norm.
And I remember
We're not
somebody
Reno.
coming up to us and going, hello. And I remember going, Mark goes, what in the blah, 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 you know? He goes, man, dude, this is Utah. You know, this is not. And I'm like, so I learned, and he goes, you got to learn to be nice to people here. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Someone didn't get his lessons in Utah.
Yeah. And everybody there, they taught us how to be. I mean, that's just, you did, you know? And even when I was in law school or whatever it is I was doing, you know, the different things, I think you get a lot further ahead when you're kind to people.
That's true.
You know, and then I also, when I went on a mission for my church,
Where'd you go?
there, Alabama.
Were you happy? Sorry to cut you off, but were you happy about Alabama, or did you want some like foreign land?
Oh, I wanted some foreign land. Yeah.
Alabama is a foreign land, Ken.
Well, it was not. I mean, when I received my mission call, I remember being in my kitchen with my mother, and I opened it up, you know, and it said Alabama, and I'd been to Mobile, and I remember thinking to my mom, and I said, "This sucks." I actually did. You know, I was like, and she goes, no, it's great for you because you won't get in trouble because I had a tendency to, you're 19 years old, 18, 19, right?
Mischievous.
And it was just a blast there. I mean, I loved Alabama. I love Alabama to this day. It is the most beautiful. The people there, you're asking them how they're the friendliest, the kindest. I mean, they're, you know, you go knock on doors and say, hey, come in and talk about different things, you know. Won't go into that with you. But it's, people would go, no, I don't want to hear about your church, but have a glass of lemonade.
Yeah.
They were so friendly.
Yeah.
Then the biggest thing that really affected me, and we can address it, it doesn't bother me, I like to talk about it, when it really, something that totally changed my life was about 13 years ago, about my son died of leukemia.
Okay.
And that there just changed my life. And I realized as an attorney, you can appreciate this, Ashley, you know, you sit there and you tell people, oh, by the way, come on in, pay your bill, do this, go to that.
Well, not the government lawyer, but I know what you're talking about.
Well, you know, and even today now, when I sit down with people, I always set aside 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
They may not hire me.
Sure.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I used to. I'm like, okay, here. And I'm like, you know what? If you don't like me, then here are some of my competitors that do the same kind of tax law or something. But you'll sit down because they have real problems.
Yeah.
And people have problems. That's the biggest thing that got to me, you know, way back then or whatever else it was. And it's just a matter of time. And so that's one of the biggest things that have affected from my family.
Yeah.
Big time, you know. And it wasn't fun, but it's taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Taught a lot. So that's a big thing.
Well,
Can you,
go ahead.
I'll cut in. I mean, I know these things, but can you tell us more about your son?
Robert?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, you know, he loved baseball, you know, played baseball at Las Vegas High. Then went out to play ball in Missouri at college level and was married to a wonderful young lady by the name of Ashley Squires. And now is remarried to a gentleman named Zockel, Chris Zockel's son, who we know real
like
well.
Adam Zockel? Like
it's
Emily Zockel, like that family?
Yeah,
Old
Adam,
Vegas?
Adam,
I went to school with all those guys.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Green,
Okay.
So, you know, did that. And she has 2 beautiful children. You know, she hangs out with talks to my wife more than she does me.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. That's cool.
Yeah. It's probably for the best.
Yeah, that probably is. What the heck, you know? But he loved to do that. You know, he was going to become a veterinarian. That was his love. A little story about him. I'll never forget. He was a very loving child. And the thing that was interesting about him is he would love to work with animals. And he would euthanize some of them when at the veterinarian they were at that when they needed to. And he'd come home late. And this is before he got married and stuff like that. And I'd say, what are you coming back home so late for? And he goes, well, you have to sit there with those animals. And because you treat them like they're your own animals or people because the other people just leave because I'd make sure they're all taken care of as though it was my family or my animal.
He didn't just go, oh, it's 4:00, time to go home. He made sure, like, are we good? Are you good?
People loved him. He was very engaging with people. Everybody loved him. I mean, when he was in high school, everybody seemed to love him and all this stuff. This was a great kid. I mean, I couldn't speak. We could talk all day about him, you know.
Yeah.
So, but good young man, you know. But he died about 13 years ago. So,
when did you, not to switch gears ish, when did you first get like the baseball bug? Was it as a kid here in town or later? Okay.
No, I like football all the way through.
Okay.
But I literally when I got the baseball bug, Robert was, I forget what age he was, 6, 7, 8 or something. Some of my friends from high school were like, hey, Ken, you know, you played baseball. You did this. Will you please come help coach?
Were you good at it when you played baseball?
No, I wasn't. No.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
No. Are you kidding me?
No, I couldn't hit a curveball with life for me. No way in the world. No way.
That's amazing because the conversation we had out here, I would have thought you've been playing it forever and you just like, this is what you do.
Track, things like that. No. And so I would go and study everything, you know, talk to my buddies who did play baseball, you know, like Mike Maddox or whatever it was. These guys say, hey, what do you guys got going, you know? Yeah. And I'd watch all these videos and stuff and everybody's like, oh, you know so much about baseball. And I'm like, oh, diddly squat. But I'll give it a shot and we're doing it. And then I coached about 20 years. It was a blast.
Holy smokes.
It was a blast.
You coach your son, right? And a
lot of other kids. Yeah. Just whatever.
Well, you can't play baseball by yourself, so.
I can. That's good. That's the best way for me to do it. It's like you drive.
Probably the way you're most effective.
You just do it all by yourself. Nobody else on the road.
Probably for the best. Thank you, Ken. Ken has a real bone to pick with my driving, and he's never ridden anywhere
but that's
with
not
me.
true. It's just everything you do in a car.
Easy. It's just
everything
easy.
You do in a car.
It's just an easy target for Ken to hit.
You don't
here.
even park straight.
I do.
Okay. She doesn't. Go ahead.
Ken used to do this thing. He thought it was hilarious. He still thinks it's hilarious. He would park his truck so close to the driver's side of my car in the work parking lot that I couldn't get in the car.
That's when I
had to crawl
You're still having fun in life.
Oh yeah. Oh, life is fun.
Yeah.
Oh, life is fun, man. If you don't make it fun, there's something wrong.
And then he'd leave. He would leave and call me, tell me to look out the window. Chris,
but
had to have been maybe 4 inches. And I was like, now what? And he was like, I don't know. I think you'll figure it out.
Well, I wasn't going to move my truck.
No, he never moved the truck.
I would never move my truck.
Never. He'd be like, oh, here's a problem solver for you.
Yeah, but that's like the candy you gave me that tastes like crap.
Yeah, that was on purpose.
Yeah, I know. That was horrible.
Mm-hmm. Being boozled.
Has she ever done that to you?
No. He's never parked. He's never blocked in my car.
Candy bad, I'll tell you.
I put it in a jar.
I was like, that does not sound like fun. I don't want to eat that garbage.
It was like
I didn't know it was bad.
Booger flavored whatever.
Yeah, like socks.
No,
from
it's
the underwear
with salt
drawer.
all over. Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, that was great.
I thought she loved me and was giving me something. I was wrong. Yeah.
No.
Is that
One of those things.
Is that important in building culture in a team, both work environment and like on the baseball field, to have fun and just?
I think it is. I mean, I think even for a team work,
because I'm seeing similarities and tie-ins where you know what I mean.
Yeah, you have to interview the people, see where they're at. Because I consider my employees, whatever business I've owned or whatever it is, and I've had the law firm for a long time. Yeah, that you need to get to know them, and don't get me wrong. I've had to fire people. You do some stuff, and everything's happened. That's a different day, but I think if you don't know people, and if you don't act as the boss or the coach, though you're one of them, you're missing the boat.
That's my boss's policy. She won't ask us to do anything she won't do.
Never will. No.
Honestly.
And they're not going to outwork me. I love what I do.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean,
it shows.
Being a tax attorney to me, I mean, doing what Ashley does, no way. There's no way. I mean, I used to love to do, like if you do a trial with juries, that's a blast. Yeah. Okay. But it takes so much time. Yeah. Like I used to play golf a lot. I used to love golf. Yeah. And I realized.
Me too. What happened?
What it was, all of a sudden what happened was you're married, you have children. And one day I'm sitting there and I'm going out to play golf and my wife's sitting there doing some stuff. And I'm like, this can't be fair.
Yeah.
That's why my dad stopped golfing. Did you know that?
Is it really?
Stopped golfing the day I was born. Hasn't picked up a club since.
And that's about what it is. I mean,
he was like, I just want to spend time with my kids.
I used to golf three times a week. Yeah. And now people, you don't go. That's one of the reasons we're talking about even with baseball right now with the grandkids and doing stuff and doing. I mean, I don't even have I don't miss it. And there's some other people that I've talked to that coached when I did that were phenomenal, way better coaches than I were. Because that's even one thing I go to other people's practices and watch what they did, and then implement them in my practice.
That's amazing.
And everybody's like, well, what'd you do that for? And I said, well, they're better than me, man.
Why wouldn't you? Go to the source.
This isn't going well. We'd like to improve.
Yeah. So, but it's the same thing with my practice. There's some of the attorneys that are tax attorneys, one specifically, who I even talked to him, and he's a great man and done a phenomenal job with his career. Mm-hmm. And I've always talked to him. I mean, mentors are pivotal in life. Yeah. I mean, you look at your father. Yeah. I mean, great governor in my book.
Thank you.
Phenomenal man. I have a lot of respect for him.
Thank you for that, more.
Yep. And, you can learn a lot from him. The humility did anything. And going through what he did as governor for the years he was governor, the October stuff he did prior to everything he's done, you can learn a lot from people. And when you don't, I learned a lot from my 9-year-old granddaughter, for crying out loud, Tatum. You do. You sit there and go, that's a smart thing. So that's how it is. So,
what have you learned from your 9-year-old granddaughter?
What have I learned?
I was going to ask, what have you learned from all of them?
There's a lesson here.
Yeah.
I've learned that respect your boundaries. The same thing with my 6-year-old. The boys are different. I have 2 granddaughters and 6 grandsons.
Okay.
Boys are different. I had 3 boys and 3 girls. Okay. But as a father for a girl, I didn't respect their boundaries. And I don't know if that's because what I would do is I'd be like more in their face.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to be involved. I want to do this. And I thought my job was to be around all the time. And if I would do it over again, which we don't get to do, but sometimes they don't want hugs. Sometimes they do. Listen to them more. And the same with my 6-year-old. She just comes over sometimes. Hi, Grandpa. How you doing? Now, their 3-year-old brother, he's all over me. Mm-hmm. So are my grandsons. They don't have boundaries. The girls are tough to rear. I'm telling you that, man.
That's how my dad got the gray hair.
And everybody,
he'll tell you.
Well, everybody tells me, well, how, people, I used to think, well, I didn't have a lot to share with children. Mm-hmm. Then one day I woke up and I'm like, I have 3 sons and 3 daughters.
Yeah.
I know more than you do. I actually was reading a book from a guy one time, how to rear or raise your children, whatever words you like to use. And holy crap, I finally met this guy. I said, tell me what you do with your kids. Never been married, don't have kids. I'm like, well, I ain't reading your book anymore.
Yeah.
And then Ken stopped reading.
Yeah, that's about it. But no, all in all, I mean, like I said, with my profession, I love what I do. Tax law.
Why?
Oh man, tax law. It affects everybody.
Yes.
And
it's like a treasure hunt.
But it's a really good friend of mine / client of mine.
Yeah.
Also says, Ken, what you do with your job, he goes, we're happy to pay you because you save us money.
Yeah.
People don't ask me that.
No, well, yours is your world is hard.
No, your world is hard.
No, your world.
I can't count.
I
can count.
We could go into your world a lot. I mean, I've, helped and stuff like that. I mean, come on.
It's just different.
It's different, but it's not made for me.
No, and your world's not made for me.
No. I mean, I just think, I don't do criminal law. This is what I tell people. They go, well, what kind of law do you practice? I do business, tax law. And they'll be like, my clients have become very good friends of mine, whichever they're, a lot of them, right? Chris, and so I'll sit there and talk to them, and they're like, well, we need we want a criminal attorney. We're going to call Ashley. I mean, you call all these people doing it, and I'm like, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, can you help us with that? No. I don't even know how to do a personal injury.
Yeah.
No clue.
I couldn't PI.
Actually, no clue. Mm-mm. I couldn't do family law either.
It's like that for me in real estate, and you may get this. It's like, we all have a license, but one's commercial, one's residential, one's wholesale, you can start segmenting, or even doctors, same thing.
No, it is. And real estate is cool stuff too. I mean, I've owned a bunch of doors and stuff like that too. It's a blast.
Yeah. Oh, I love real estate.
But I don't do it as much anymore. I used to, but not as much.
He's too busy watching his grandkids at their sporting events.
Well, shoot, there's 8 of them? Like, that's a full-time job right there.
Well, 5 of them are in Houston.
Okay.
And my one daughter has 5 sons.
Is that why you go? I heard you earlier. That's why you go down there? Okay.
Yep.
I was going to ask you about that.
5 sons.
Yeah.
Ken travels a lot. He likes to travel.
It's fun to travel.
Well, you should. So let me kind of backtrack just a tad bit. Yeah. How and why tax law? Did it come about? Like you just kind of started pulling the thread and see where?
Good question.
Okay.
And I don't want to monopolize the whole time here.
It's your interview.
It's your show.
Yeah.
We talk every week, Ken.
Yeah. Let's do this. My father was a CPA. Okay. With a very large firm.
My mom's a CPA.
Is she?
Kathy? Yeah. My dad's wife? Yeah. She's a CPA.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, she tells me how to invest my money, and I just listen to her.
Do you do it?
Yeah, I'm scared.
You better do it.
I do.
Good man.
And you know what else she told me?
To listen to what I say.
No, not to buy crypto. And I was like, that's a Ken thing. Ken would be so proud, Kathy. No, that's scares me.
It is scary.
Scares me.
Bitcoin's scary. Look at what's going on with it now.
Nope. I just listened to it.
FTX, all that. Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So my father was a CPA. Okay. And
here in town?
Here in town. Okay. Yeah. Also in LA did that, but here.
Yeah.
And had his own practice for quite a while. And I'll say 20, 25 years. And he actually, with the Internal Revenue Code, which is 1986, that's what everybody uses. He, with Ronald Reagan, the time he had Laxalt and all those people, they asked him to help revise the partnership of that. So growing up, that's what I've always dealt with. And the reason I'm an attorney is because my dad was being a CPA, and I said, well, that's good. And he goes, no. I mean, he said, if you really want to do tax stuff, also go and get your law degree, because he couldn't do it when he was growing up.
Yeah.
And just didn't have the money and all this stuff. And so kind of just went along like that way. And then just because when I came out of law school, all I wanted to do was work at a large CPA firm. And I had worked at a major firm prior to that before law school, but I was going to go back with them and work. But their salary
You're like,
was horrible compared to what I was going to get for the firms, $100,000 difference. And I went,
oh, wow.
Like this.
Yeah.
I was already the father of 2.
Yeah.
Getting ready to have the 3rd child.
Yeah.
And they made me pay for, the CPA firm made me pay for parking downtown LA. The law firm didn't, which is a difference of $20,000 a year. And I said, bite me.
Yeah. Wow.
Or, you know,
yeah.
And
couldn't believe it.
Here you are decades later, stayed with it.
It is. But the people that I work with, I mean, you know, I have some young ladies I've worked with have been there forever. Attorneys have been there for 15, 16,
I was going to say, you
years.
don't have a lot of turnover.
No, we don't.
Like the firm looks almost the same as when I
Yep.
left.
Yep. And then it's interesting because one thing that's been really, really interesting in my career is what we've done, which I think helps people a lot. And it's even dealing with her father or whomever it is in politics. I never wanted to run for politics, but Harry Reid, who, you know, used to be my Sunday school teacher, knew him well, live around the block from him, you know, Rory and all that. We went to high school together and yada, yada, yada. We could throw names out all day. That's not what's, but the thing that was just so interesting, you know, is what being a part of the community other than politics. I'm just trying to, in a charitable way, if you would. And there's foundations that I'm on the board of, and I'm talking about private foundations that I put together. Yeah. Okay. And then we donate. We don't try to raise money. Okay. Because we don't have to, private foundations, but we give to the, you know, battered women, veterans. We could go on and doing that. And tonight we even have there's a dinner at for one of these that we donate to. And they're kind enough they're going to give me an award, but really they should be the ones getting the award. They're the ones doing it. We write a check. Yeah. Okay. Not a small check, but it's still a check. Yeah. But I'm not doing the day to day, but we're trying to do the stuff there and that makes people happy. Yeah. I mean, that makes me real happy because when you can give to someone who has helped somebody with cancer. When my son died, he, on his deathbed, he said to me, he goes, you know, Dad, one thing I want you to do is please help kids who are dying of leukemia and their families. Yeah. And so, you know, that puts a spark in you forever. You never have that. Like you said, you've gone through valleys and, you know, everybody's like, oh, life's this, oh man, you go down and up. Yeah. And, you know, through marriage, you have this, through everything you've got, you go up and down.
Just when you think you can't go any lower or bottom, life will show you, oh yeah, watch this.
Well, I mean, in the practice of law, sometimes it's kicked my butt. I'm just like, holy crap. I don't know how
you guys do it in law, period, regardless if it's tax or whatever. Like,
no, hers is brutal.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine. I mean, yeah, it's sad.
Some of the stuff,
but like, how beautiful is it? Think about it. My only goal, I mean, yeah, I file motions and I go to trial, but my real job, right, is to see the good in somebody. Like, how great is that? That's my only thing job. Is to find something good about somebody and to be able to express to others that everybody has value. Yeah. Cool job. As depressing as it can be.
All I can say is it's a tough job.
It's a tough job.
People have no idea what being the PD public defender is just, it takes a very unique person. Yeah. You're interviewing me. We could interview her on what it's like because
I do every chance I get.
Yeah. The things she does and the things you do. People are, everybody has, we have computers people are amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And never underestimate one. Ever. Here's it's like when I tell people, they're like, well, how do you treat them? If you don't treat the lowest of low as well as the high of high, I don't care who they are. You're the governor of the state. You better treat the person down here the same. And the man who picks up the garbage, and I can tell you his name, friend of mine. Yeah. Worked on my Camaros, this stuff. And I know this guy now as I've done it Said, okay, here it is. He always puts our garbage bins up at the gate
Yeah.
where we're at. Okay. And a lot of my neighbors were like, why do they do this? And you got doctors over here or whatever's there. And I said,
Because you're nice to them.
we give them Gatorade every time.
Mhm.
And so now they all
Just
do.
being
So
a
he
good
does it to
person.
everybody. The point is people like that. Well, first off, people don't understand if it's about money, which life, money is a byproduct.
Yeah.
That's it. And he works his butt off and he does just fine. He does real well in life. Okay. And people are like, well, but they don't do as well. Wrong. Whatever you think, money doesn't make you successful. My father taught me that. Never does. Makes you a jerk sometimes, but that's about it.
It just heightens who you already are.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. And so, we got to make a living. We all have to do that.
Yeah.
But you better treat people good. And I'm not saying that, but it's whatever it is, whatever it is,
No.
I would say, and you know this because you're around my office kind of a lot because you come visit. I probably learned that at your office. I will, and you can ask my support staff. I can't do my job without my support staff. Like, we should pay them what they pay me because I cannot function without my support staff. And it'll be a cold day in hell when somebody treats my support staff poorly because they're support staff.
Yeah.
But Ken's office is run in a very similar manner.
The biggest thing, it might be minutia, but I want to touch on it. Like, let's go back to the pulling the garbage can up to the thing. I'm going to give you Gatorade or water because I'm a genuine human being and I care about you. Not because I wanted you to pull the trash. I didn't do it for any other reason. What most people don't realize is that's all you have to do, and you will get rewarded. The universe, not to be woo-woo, but the universe will reward those actions. It's when you try and control it, and I'm sure every one of us in this room could point to actions when we were trying to control the narrative, only for it to blow up back in our faces and not work out.
And word control is a good word.
Yeah.
Because, you were talking like with my children, you control there. You'd say, try to do things, and as a child, you can tell that. But when you relinquish or say, like your own employees, I no longer try to control anything.
Yes.
I used to.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I was a control freak.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I wanted to control A, B, C, and D.
Mm-hmm.
And
isn't life better? Hindsight, when you really think about it,
it's just
when you're not trying to force
it's
something.
liberating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's that lightness.
It's just liberating, man. Right? It's just all of a sudden you're like, I don't mean other than her doing that, but I mean, that there's no control in anybody. You want to that's your prerogative.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't spend that extra energy with all that extra crap that it's used for stuff like your grandkids or like coming on the show or just living life, going to a gala. It sounds like just whatever it is, you could be present in the moment because you're not so caught up. I don't know.
Do you care what people think of you?
No.
It's a good question.
Could care less.
When did that change? Was it when you were on a mission? Because
I'm a mission. I didn't care. But even in high school, I mean, it's so far. I don't know.
Just naturally, just naturally.
My mother was somebody who was very strong-willed, and she'd always say, "Don't ever care what somebody says."
Yeah,
thinks
never.
So but as I've grown up, and now that I'm this age, you're 62.
Yeah,
I really don't care. Yeah.
It's one of those things where I've heard that my whole life, or you hear stuff your whole life, but then when you get to said age or said place, you now look back, you're like, why didn't I just listen?
Yeah.
When I was this age or that, doing it like.
Well, the more I listen, the more I learn.
Yeah.
From wherever it is. Like I said, I mean, people are just so important. I mean, it's interesting because I say to people where we're at now, like with the having employees, computers have taken away some people's jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. But you still have to have people.
Yeah.
And when they're in front of you, you better treat them with respect.
Yeah.
And we talked about that, but people most people don't give a crap about other people. I do like people. I genuinely do. I mean, like I said, when I met Steve Sisolak, maybe before he became governor, I went to Ashley and said, I really like to meet your father. Never met him. Everybody's like, oh, you're good friends with him. I've only met him 3, 4, 5 times, but you would see him on there. And all kidding aside with her, Ashley's the cream of the crop, so he did a great job. You can't have, you're never going to have fun with somebody or clown around with them if you don't like them.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
I'll take my compliment, Ken. Thank you.
But you sat
And you'll
there
be
with them.
getting stinky jelly
Yeah,
beans
yeah.
again this Christmas.
But you sat there and you know, and you watched him go through just what he did. But it's just, you know, when we were sitting there, and I'll never forget one time we put a deal on for him, and there was somebody that was out in there, a different Democrat, Republican, going different than Democrat, and they asked a question, and what your father said was very interesting. This was years ago, 4 years ago or so, and he said, "I'm just not the candidate for you."
Everyone's not going to like you.
That's right.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
so did
okay.
I. That taught me.
Yeah.
That's my point. That taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's
You know,
okay.
It's like-
here he is going for your vote. He wasn't trying to
Yeah.
talk you into it. Just like,
Look, some people like McDonald's, some people like Wendy's,
Yeah.
some people like Carl's Jr.
Yep.
I am who I am. And I'm not going to force you.
yeah, well, that's what
Yeah.
they did.
I have a weird question. Are you ready?
hmm
Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Choose wisely, please.
Would I rather? What?
Okay. We ask everyone this, and when we don't, people get very upset.
hmm
Would you rather fight,
Mhm.
Ken, one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized
Mhm.
horses?
The first.
One horse sized duck.
Why?
I think.
That's a big ass duck, Ken.
It is. It's just one person. Could probably take that with a bunch of little ones. Well, a bunch of there's no way they just overtake you.
This is a very
One
interesting-
good hit with the first. Boom. Maybe.
Yeah.
You're gonna punch a horse-sized duck, and you think you're gonna do anything? You're gonna punch it in the chest?
You ever? If you ride horses?
A Clydesdale-sized duck?
Well,
You're
but I
gonna
wasn't
punch
thinking
it.
that big.
Well,
Just like a-
that's
just like a
that's what we're
thoroughbred.
thinking. A
Yeah.
I ride
thoroughbred-sized
horses
duck.
plenty. You know, you do that.
Does it change your
And
analysis?
If you pound one, no, I don't want a bunch of ducks that going on. Not too
They're
many.
a bunch of horses. They're
Yeah.
little horses.
Just one. I just want one big one.
What do you think the horses are going to do to you?
Nothing actually. But you had your question. I'm trying to answer your question. What do I think the big one's going to do to me?
Yeah.
If I hit it and it falls, it will fall to the ground.
You're going to knock a
You're
horse-sized
gonna hit
duck
it right.
over?
You can hit it right in the.
And the kisser?
Snoot?
Yep. Mm-hmm. You ever done that to a horse?
It's not a
No.
horse, it's a duck.
Well, it's the same diff. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, I'll hit a duck there. I don't care. Ducks will fall down.
Is all these answers swaying? Because a lot of people are now starting to pick the bigger one. Are you?
I don't know. I refuse to be swayed.
But why? What's your answer?
The little ones, I'm going to kick them. They're.
But there's going to be a lot of them.
Yeah.
Sure. But like,
I could use a lot
can
of
you
analogies. Why? but I won't,
imagine the beak on a Clydesdale-sized duck coming at your face?
but just hit it hard. You ever been in a fight where the person's a lot bigger than you?
I'm sure, but that is
Okay.
not a duck.
I've done that. Okay.
Ducks don't
Versus
give a shit.
Versus if you're in a fight where you got 3 guys or 4 guys, they can be smaller, and I've done that before too.
Yeah.
That was a lot harder, that fight. And I got the crap beat out of me in that one.
That was about 2 weeks ago.
Mine was a long time ago, but
Ken's out fighting gangs of
No,
people.
no.
No, I'm totally joking. It wasn't 2 weeks ago. You never know.
I don't
these
like your
days.
answer.
just want the one.
Would you rather fight? Sorry. Would you rather fight an orangutan once a year or a chicken every time you get in the car? People send in these questions, Ken.
Jeez Louise, man. An orangutan.
Once a year.
I think remember that old
What?
show in the 80s they used to have the billboards all over with the orangutan on it?
Yeah.
I always think of those and I don't want to fight the orangutan.
You know, versus a chicken.
Every
What?
time you get in the car.
Yeah.
If I can just throw it out of the car.
But
Every
the
time, though.
chicken's, it's not real, Ken. Like the chicken's back.
Yeah, but every time you open the door.
Just give me the chicken.
That's fair. Did you like an orangutan? If you Google, like,
I've seen them.
they
Right.
will
Yeah, that
harm
they're-
you.
Well, evidently a big old chicken or whatever with
Yeah.
what looks like a horse is going to harm you.
But a horse-sized duck isn't real. An orangutan is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to fight an orangutan.
Neither do
I
I.
don't want to fight a horse. I don't fight a whatever duck.
I don't want to fight
any.
anybody.
You know, yeah.
I just want to knit my sock. And
You're the one asking the weird questions, man. I'm just here to
we,
hang out.
to be fair, we stopped asking people that question after like our 3rd or 4th episode of this run.
Mhm.
And people wrote in and were like,
Yeah, we were
what
just having
happened to
some
the
fun with it.
duck?
Mhm.
And I was like, we were talking about other stuff. I'm really sorry. And they're like, well, we wait until the end of the episode to hear about the duck. I'm like, all right, cool.
Here's what's funny.
Fight the duck then.
The pro athletes, no matter what sport, they always pick the big
Always pick the big one.
No one picks the little ones. And also the super analytical people pick the little ones over the.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an interesting-ish weird question.
No, weirder than that one?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. And I want to
It's a
ask
fake
specifically you
question.
because it's about Vegas. Just give you a heads up. We, the three of us, not to make this bias, we're in a unique club where we've seen Vegas start out, especially you, right? And not to age you, but like especially you or like my parents or the older generation. No, it's awesome. But like we've definitely seen such a major transition. First with the first boom, because I was in real estate back then, and I was like, oh, we're actually becoming a real city. Because when I was a kid, I'll never forget this.
Who just won?
No, he just said it's okay.
Okay.
When I was a kid,
Nothing.
I'll never forget this. I asked my dad once if there was 1 million people in Vegas, and he almost like laughed because it was like that small back then, right?
Yeah.
During the first boom, I was like, oh crap, this is like a crab going through a new shell type. Like we're becoming a big boy, big girl city. We're going through that now at a level that I don't even know how to describe because of sports teams and all that other stuff. What's something that maybe you miss about old school Vegas and how we all kind of grew up? As weird as that sounds, no one would understand it. And that's why I'm taking advantage of someone who's seen it, right? And what are you excited about that Vegas has turned into or that we now have?
Ken's excited about football.
Yeah, I was going to say, well,
Okay.
let's go. Let's start with the latter.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, I love the sport.
Okay. Yeah.
I've grown up a sports fan my whole life, but going to the Raiders games, I love the nights. I was there just a couple of nights ago.
Yeah.
And I growing up here, I don't even know how to ice skate.
Yeah.
Didn't even know the rules. Didn't have a clue on anything about it.
None of us did. And they
And-
said hockey wouldn't work in the desert. Remember
Well,
that?
I have to be honest with you. That I probably came out of my mouth too. I was like, "This is a joke,"
Yeah.
And I didn't know the blue line from the red line from here, what offsides was or anything.
Yeah.
Now I know the whole rules. Go to the games a bunch. Seen you there
Yeah.
time. So that excites me.
Yeah.
I mean, the growth of this town and what it's going through.
Mhm.
I think that the town, the more it comes together, which you like, but a lot of new people coming in.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of us that have been here for a long time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And a lot of us are lawyers. You got the doctors, or you got the people just, whatever they may be doing.
Yeah.
Whether it be construction, I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Going back to the old Vegas, when I grew up in here in the 60s and 70s and all that, because my family actually helped originate this place from the lake being submerged and all the all the stuff there. I mean, my grandfather helped put Nevada State Bank together.
Mm.
Okay, worked with the Golden Gate as its controller. I had uncles who were U.S. senators, state senators, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And what I miss about it is just the smallness of it, but I don't mind the change.
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, "Well, why don't you mind the change?" And I went, "Because it's inevitable.
Mhm.
I can't stop it.
Yeah.
And nor do I want to.
Mhm.
I don't want to change anything. I mean, it's the way I don't want to have crap come in here, which we have a lot of crap that does come around here, from people who are doing all the wrong stuff
Yeah.
or whatever.
But we've always kind
But-
of had that though,
Yeah,
too,
no.
at the same time.
That's
But-
everywhere though.
But
Yeah.
I love the city.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I would go, I travel, whether it be California or wherever, all the places you travel. But this place is home. And when I was in law school or working in LA or stuff, I'd see, remember the old show Vegas, which is in the 80s, way back
Yeah.
when?
Mhm.
And I'd see the strip on there. And my parents were here, my siblings and all this stuff. I was homesick for the town.
Yeah. That moment when you fly
Yeah.
in and the lights
Oh.
are all on, or you
That's the
drive
best.
over from Utah and you come cruising
Yeah.
down that hill.
Mhm.
I
The
love
thing.
this town. So, you look at all from Valley Bank to, you could go into the Thomas and Mack group, all the stuff that's
Yeah,
been out there.
yeah.
We could talk names on names, but still, it still has a small feel to it in a lot
Yeah.
of ways. And
Yeah.
people have just got to come in and be a part of it, be a part of what we're doing. And I think that's what it is.
I love how you said that. It's still a small thing, but people need to be a part of it.
Mhm. They do.
they need to, not that this
A lot
turned
of culture.
into a Vegas commercial, but like, I don't know. I
mean, I could sit here and talk about it. I lose something.
No.
No, because I could sit here and talk about Vegas forever.
Yeah.
You know, of what it was like, what it was growing up. You know, I mean, the bunkers, which is the Bunker Brother Mortuary and all that. I'm a bunker. My mother was a bunker.
I know that.
And the Frainers and the Levitts and all that stuff. You know?
Do you know what's a fun fact about Bunker? The county crypt is at Bunker downtown.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like if you pass away and you do not have family and they cannot contact your family, the county will cremate you and you will be put in the county crypt at Bunker
Really?
Memorial.
holy smokes.
There was this is weird, 10 years ago, longer than that, 10 years ago, there was a nice man. His name was Ken, and he lived outside the building I currently work in. And when Ken passed away, they couldn't find his family, and he's at the county crypt.
Oh, wow.
Ken. Never asked anybody for anything.
Yeah.
Sweetest man.
And that's where you go with the charities and stuff, because the people, I don't know what happened to my thing, but
Hang on, let's fix your mic.
yeah.
There we go.
Did I screw it up? Oh,
No,
there
you're
we
good.
go.
You're good.
But
Then we're back.
with all the, whether it be Safe Nest or whatever you want that's out there, with the stuff that we do through the Schultze Foundation and all the foundations we deal with, people don't realize those people, because when you go to a battered women place or to people who are can't afford their children or whatever it is, but whatever it's at, people like that, they matter. They matter. And Vegas, I think, is one place where a lot of people are willing to give.
100%. Look at 1 October.
Yeah.
It was
And
insane.
And that's one thing about here. You talk about it where
We're a
other
community.
places don't do that. And it is a community. And people they really do. You've got to buy in. You've got to see,
We show up.
because what like for the homeless in this town,
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, I know of quite, because I'm very involved with that arena. And what we're trying to do is bring it together. And there's other charities that are more involved than I am. And they're really trying to solve the problem, not just put a Band-Aid on it, but trying to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from a lot of people that have been here since before I've been here.
Yeah.
Because we could go back to other people, who they are too.
Yeah.
A lot of people make a big difference in this town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people, man.
That's,
I'll never forget Ken, the guy that lived outside my building,
Yeah.
Ken. He was gone one day. And I was like, oh, that's weird. This was probably 7 years ago now. And I was like, where's Ken? And like a couple days went by and I was like, no. Where's Ken? Like I walk by that man every day on my way to work. He has never asked anyone for anything.
yeah.
Sweet, kind, just a good community member. And he had gotten the flu. And my biggest concern was that he had died by himself. And he had not. We did some research, but he didn't have any family and he is buried at Bunker Memorial.
Well, look at COVID, what it did.
Yeah.
I mean, that created a lot of problems for people.
Yeah.
A lot of homeless,
Yeah.
a lot of deaths, a lot of
Yeah.
suicides.
Yeah.
And you got to care about that.
Yeah.
Got to
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
You don't just have to be the governor to care.
No?
Because you've got to care about
It's
that.
our city. We all got
That's
to pitch in.
Right.
Like,
Did you go down to the strip when it was closed?
Yep.
Was it
is
creepy?
it weird?
It's creepy,
I
right?
have the videos. Yeah. you
It
better
was
believe
like
Of course I had to.
unnerving.
Yeah. I went
And
up
I-
and down at one time, took pictures, the videos, the whole thing. Didn't
I
you?
feel like, but I couldn't make it far before I was just in tears.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just so weird.
But he had to do it. Did you do
Hard?
it? Did you?
Yeah, I went, of course. So when are you going to see that?
I think we all did.
Yeah, that and I remember when Frank Sinatra died, and they in like 95, 94, 96, and they shut off all the lights. It was like a big thing. Like, when else are you going to see that? Now, I couldn't tell you one thing about that day, but I can tell you I was there, saw the lights off.
That's cool.
What does someone need to know about you that we don't know already? As we're kind of like wrapping up here.
The real question Chris is asking is what's the most interesting thing people don't know about you?
About me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not that interesting.
You are that interesting.
To be honest with you, the biggest thing for me is family.
Yeah.
People. I mean, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe my life, and I've tried to do this. I got this from an employee of mine who was an attorney years ago.
Yeah.
And she goes, the biggest thing I like about life sometimes is just that I'm boring.
Oh, I love being boring.
And that's probably what I don't like to be known. It's like, well, and not that I'm supposed to be, but it's like being a public figure would drive me nuts. One reason I didn't want to do politics,
Mhm.
I mean, I tell people Granted, maybe if I could have dunked a basketball, my name was Michael Jordan, I've been different, but that wasn't my life.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't dunk?
Crap, no.
Never, or just not now?
Oh, I've done it before, but I can't do it now. I can't even jump. But, you know, but life has just changed in such a way where I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah.
My life probably bores. I mean, you know, I watched whatever, sometime there was somebody did a poll or whatever, and they said, what's the most boring people on the face of the earth?
Tax lawyers.
Right. No, they were third. Okay.
Oh.
But anyway, since you get
Shocking.
there, I won't do the rest. And I'm like,
What were the other two?
one was being an actuary, the other one was a CPA, the third one was a tax.
Oh my
so
God.
two of
Aren't
those,
they all the same?
yeah, they're pretty much
very similar.
Actuary's not.
Well,
So-
I mean,
So I'm like, well, I got to be one of the most boring people on the face of the earth. Amen. I'm happy. We go on. Okay?
yeah.
But then teachers, okay, and criminal lawyers were the most exciting. And I'm like, thought of asking, I went, huh, because she can't drive, she can't do this. Lots of things happen with her, you know. But you sit there.
Thanks, Ken.
But you're welcome. But I think, you know, but I like being boring.
Yeah.
You know, or being that it's just you walk out, you do your stuff, you talk to your neighbor. I was talking to the lady today, my neighbor, and she's doing her, you know, grass and stuff and I'm just sitting there, what's your husband doing? How's your family? Because sometimes you talk to your neighbor the least of all.
Mm-hmm.
I probably haven't talked to her in 6 months, but her mother died in the last little while,
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
So talking about that and going through that, I thought, well, I'll go over and talk to her. But that's the biggest.
It's not boring, it's balanced, I
Yeah.
think.
But
It's consistency.
Consistency and balance is better than boring, I think.
There's so
Well,
much comfort
I agree
in
with that.
Yeah.
Just, you know,
consistency.
and just, I mean, life is good, but I don't have anything that's special about me.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's not true.
The biggest thing I love, I mean, I bar none. And I love my children, love my family, love the whole thing, you know, with my grandkids are pivotal. That's something that's just.
Is it like being I hear, children. I hear it's like being a parent, but without the responsibility portion and just the fun.
That's true. Yeah, there's no response. I mean, if my grandchildren are sitting there and they throw out the cups or they break something
Yeah.
or they spill their milk, you know, when you're kids, you clean it up. I'll be sitting there with my son-in-laws or whatever. And I'm like, bummer for you. Well, why didn't you
You
stop?
gonna get that?
I ain't doing it. You know?
Yeah.
And then Linda will sit there and she goes, well, stop them. Why are they doing that? And I'm like, if you want as a grandma, you want to go terrorize them, you go terrorize
Not
them.
my chair, not my problem.
I'm just sitting there watching them, and that's life. But I've never had as much fun in life as I am being a grandparent.
I love that.
Barnett.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can
It's sweet.
we can even end on that if you want. That's
Well, we have to tell everyone what we learned.
You're right. What did we learn?
We learned that Ken is boring and he loves it.
Yeah.
We learned that grandpa is way more fun than dad.
Okay.
We learned that Vegas shows up.
Yes.
And we learned that you get back what you put out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And humility goes a long way.
Yeah.
And a big thing that I learned, you need to understand, she still can't drive.
It's what we learned today, everyone.
No matter what.
I love it.
No matter what.
I just want everyone to know Ken hasn't seen me drive in 10 years.
But guarantee you still
Doesn't
can't
matter.
do it.
He doesn't care.